Week 4 of the NFL season did not fail to disappoint, but with week 5 just around the corner, here are 5 more things that you need to watch out for. Now, the first thing to watch out for this weekend is very obviously NFL London, because the NFL is coming to our hometown. And as the NFL comes back to the UK's capital, it is shaping up to be the best NFL London yet. Now, on the surface, the Vikings versus the Browns seems to be the least exciting NFL game in London this year, but oh boy, would you be wrong to think that. At the start of the season, a lot of us would have thought Vikings versus Browns, that's probably going to be Joe Flacco versus JJ McCarthy. But after 4 games, we are now getting Dylan Gabriel versus Carson Wentz. And while it's a strange quarterback matchup, it is sure going to be a very fun one. Now, last week in Dublin, Carson Wentz threw the ball 46 times, so don't be surprised if Kevin O'Connell wants to continue with a heavy pass attack in London. On the other sideline, we've got Dylan Gabriel, who could not be in a weirder quarterback situation if he tried. Wedged in between veteran Joe Flacco and fellow rookie Shedeur Sanders, it seems like the only person that wants Dylan Gabriel under center in Cleveland is the coach. And if the former Oregon QB has a bad first half, do not be surprised if the London crowd are calling for Shedeur Sanders. And that poses the question, will it be perfect timing in London? Now, the second thing that we have to talk about going into this weekend's games is Jaxson Dart. Now, this stupidly handsome rookie QB out of Ole Miss took the league by storm last week versus the Chargers. And now it's very fair to say that New York currently has Dart fever. And we have to remember, Jaxson Dart just beat a Los Angeles Chargers team that were 3-0 and just went back-to-back in division wins, with some even saying that they could reach the Super Bowl. So that clearly means that Jaxson Dart is the answer in New York, right? Well, not quite, because if you follow me on TikTok, you'll know that I am not the biggest Jaxson Dart fan. Coming into the NFL draft, I did not like him as a first-round quarterback, and I actually gave him a 5th-round grade. Last week, Jaxson Dart only threw for 111 yards off of 13 passes, and although he got 54 yards on the ground, his quarterback rating was only 37.5. A good QBR is somewhere above 70 or 80. And now with wide receiver 1 Malik Nabers out for the season with an ACL injury and a very tough schedule, don't be shocked if the New Orleans Saints get a win over New York. And whilst it might sound like hate, I do still want Jaxson Dart to succeed, but guys, let's not get carried away here. Now, the third thing to look out for this weekend is the New England Patriots. Now, back in my day, the New England Patriots were the it team in the league. From Brady to Moss to Gronk and Gilmore, there was always New England Patriots discourse. But these days, it feels like those guys in Massachusetts just go about their business pretty quietly. Going into week 5, their sophomore quarterback Drake May has got 7 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Last year in 13 games, he had 15 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. So if Drake May continues to play at a high level, he will eclipse last year's numbers by week 8. However, this week, the New England Patriots face up against divisional rivals and Super Bowl hopefuls, the Buffalo Bills. So this will be an occasion that Drake May and the New England Patriots will relish, especially in primetime up against the Bills. Don't be shocked if New England come away with the win. The fourth thing to talk about going into this weekend's game is the Seattle Seahawks, and more importantly, Jaxson Smith-Njigba. The Seahawks and their star receiver Jaxson are quietly putting together a playoff-worthy season. Going into week 5, wide receiver Jaxson Smith-Njigba has 26 catches on 34 targets for a whopping 402 receiving yards. And the Seahawks wide receiver 1 is currently on course to have a 1,700-yard season if he doesn't slow down. And with Sam Darnold under center and Cooper Kupp acting as a brilliant wide receiver 2, it doesn't look like the Seahawks are really missing Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. And if they manage to pull off a win versus the Bucs in week 5, then going into week 6, no one is going to want to play the Seattle Seahawks. And the 5th thing to look out for this weekend is upsets. Because as the good teams begin to break off from the not so good teams, we enter upset season. Because this is the time of year when teams that are already beginning to pick up steam are suddenly halted, and the teams that already look done somehow pull off some big wins. And this week, when it comes to upsets, we could potentially see a bunch. First up, the underrated Jacksonville Jaguars have to face off against the reigning runners-up Kansas City Chiefs. The 2-2 Denver Broncos then have to travel to Philadelphia to take on the reigning Super Bowl champions, and then the 3-1 Indianapolis Colts then host the 1-3 Raiders team that I think just have to figure it all out. The Bengals also host the Detroit Lions, but come on. So do not be shocked if this weekend we see a plethora of upsets in the NFL. But that's it for week 5. Did I miss anything? Comment down below and let me know. And as always, if you did like this video, be sure to drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the NFL UK and Ireland YouTube channel. I've been American TJ. Peace.